Ladies and gentlemen, you will love this session, the next session that I'm about to present to all of you right now, because it is also after my heart. It's a motivational session on embracing uncertainty and overcoming challenges. And the speaker is Mr. Satyarup Siddhanta. He's a renowned Indian mountaineer and storyteller. He's called the man who dared to dream. Mr. Satyarup Siddhanta is an Indian mountaineer who is currently holding the Guinness World Record for being the youngest in the world to have climbed the highest mountain of all the 7 continents and the highest volcanoes of all the 7 continents. Mr. Satyarup has skied the last degree to South Pole and is gearing up for the last degree skiing in North Pole this coming April. Recently, Mr. Satyarup and his team became the first Indian team to climb Mount Brahma in Kishtwar region of Jammu, which was summited after 43 years. And this mountain was climbed earlier only 4 times, all by foreign teams. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give a thunderous round of applause to Mr. Satyarup Siddhanta on stage to hear about his inspirational journey. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we have the slides? Yeah, all those techie talks and everything, I think you might have got bored, but let me make you fasten your seatbelts because what I'm going to do now is a thunderous session. Are you guys with me or are you sleeping? Yes. All right, before I start, I wanted to just play this video for you.
The mountains and our lives have this in common. The ups and downs. And
Can we have the sound?
Of the unknown. The conquerors of Kilimanjaro and the great leaders have this in common. Attending INFOCOM.
So this was the INFOCOM flag that I took at Mount Kilimanjaro just before, in last October. And yeah, I just wanted to show this one for you. And thanks for coming here and spending time. And when I say time, time is the most precious commodity because you cannot buy not even a single minute of time in your life with all the money in the world. So with this, I start the session, embracing uncertainties and overcoming challenges. Hi, this is Satyarup Siddhanta, and I have climbed the highest mountains and the highest volcanoes of all the 7 continents, and I've skied to the South Pole. And for the last 5 years, my North Pole expedition is getting cancelled. So it might look very flowery that, he came, he saw, he conquered. But behind this has a lot more failures, lot more struggles, lot more resilience. But when I look back at the journey, I feel I don't believe myself that the path that I have crossed. But then I take immense pride in fluttering the national flag in some of the remotest and some of the highest points in the world. And yes, I currently hold the Guinness World Record for the last 5 years as the youngest in the world. But now when at the age of 35, I got that award, at that record, I was wondering that, people typically have those records as 3-year-old make that youngest, 5-year-old make that youngest. So 35 years youngest, then something is wrong with this sport. But yes, that's why it's not a sport, it's adventure sport. And here, yes, there is winning, but there is no losing because if you come back alive, you are always winning. Summit is optional, but coming back is always mandatory. In this journey, as I told that, behind all those good-looking things, you have, just like in your profession as well, you have a lot of planning, a lot of risk analysis, mitigations, you have to do a lot of funding, sponsors, and doing all those things, and it actually teaches me this. People ask me, what is your education qualification? I don't just say that I'm a software engineer, but I say, I've done an MBA. And they ask me, from where? I told, from the mountains. Because you have to find your own sponsors, you have to do your own planning, you have to do your own funding, you have to do your own marketing, you have to do all sales. Yeah, so I can safely say that it has been an MBA. And this journey so far has been quite exciting, like this. Can we have the sound, please? So this is in Antarctica. We fortified our tents. We thought the katabatic wind was coming, we knew, but we were safe inside. Then I woke up my partner, tent partner, and said, hey, it's windy. And he told, what can you expect in Antarctica? It will be windy. And the next 5 minutes, this happened. Our tent was flattened. And temperature outside was minus 40 degrees centigrade. And we had no other choice than to embrace this uncertainty, and you have to get into the field to work, to fix. We can't lament and see that, oh my God, what happened, whatever. There is no chance to do that. You have to just come out. You have to make your things. And all this is possible when you are working as a team. And while we are doing, we ensure that we enjoy that work as well. No matter what, even in that extreme situation, you can see, like, we try to make it light, but we know in the back of our mind that there is no scope for any mistakes. So sometimes it gets even more adventurous, or should I say misadventure. So here, this is me. I was getting helicopter rescued, so that is me, and the helicopter is up. But trust me, it was my mistake where I landed in this kind of situation, but I had the best of the views of the mountains from here. And some of my friends has put a James Bond music there. But I love to call myself, hi, I am Bond, vagabond. Yeah. But then, and sometimes the journey is also thrilling. This is in Papua New Guinea. And in this journey, sometimes you meet some people and you face your fears, a lot of self-doubts at times. But then some people you meet who reminds you of your strength, who reminds you of who you are. And one such guy was this. And the guy who was recording this, I was like so angry that why he was recording, but he was saying that, what if you fall? Nobody can blame me that we have pushed you. So that's a record. And if you fall, your dead body will also not be found. So yeah, all these things make sense because at the end, when you reach the summit, you actually represent your country. And yeah, so yes. Now you have seen this picture just now. Do you recall? Yeah, I was working on this, isn't it? Why I wanted to show you this particular picture is, this is a problem in hand, isn't it? Stakes are pretty high. You fall, you're dead, just like your business. You have to take a huge decision, say changing one platform from Azure to AWS or from on-premises to cloud. So many things you have, right? And then here I stand there thinking what to do. Should I not? A lot of fear, a lot of self-doubt. And at this moment, you see that guy, he was the local guide there. And he knew that I have climbed so many mountains and this and that. And this was a perfect opportunity for him to give those tanas, hey, what kind of mountaineer you are, you cannot cross this, right? But what he did, what are the choices that he has? He could have directed, come like this, come like that, or he could have scolded me like, this also you can't do. But what he chose to do was he observed, and then he came as if it was a highway. He was just like walking. And I knew that it's very slippery. And I was just watching him in awe. And then he just came and gave me a pat at the back and told, yes, you can do it. And trust me, I suddenly felt like all the strength back in me, all the self-doubts went off. And sometimes in our life also we need some people, the leaders who are here, I think this is so important for you to go back to your team. And this small tap had made sure that I also crossed that particular log just like as he did. So he had different kinds of leadership choice, but he chose lead by example kind of leadership. And then that's what I call leadership. So I love mountains because these mountains, every step you get so much insights, so much metaphors, because mountains are not mountains just like physical mountains. They are like manifestation of your fear, of your self-doubt. You look eye to all those fears, you break those barriers and self-limiting beliefs, and just you move on. I was diagnosed from asthma when I was 8 years, and life was almost like I didn't know what to do because I lost the playground, as most of our kids of our age would have gone through. But then the choice was that I could have lamented, oh my God, why I lost that, I couldn't play this, play that. But because I was not conditioned to be like that, I chose my own playgrounds. I chose to walk on those parapets and boundary walls and climb trees, and eventually all my mohalla people, the kids, they also started following this kind of passion. So unknowingly, I realized that I was actually implementing a growth mindset than a victim mindset. But then this went on, and the inhaler became my my friend for life. And I thought life was going so smooth, everything. But one fine day when I was in college in 2001, I was going out of the college campus and I had an attack. And when I had an attack, I realized suddenly that I didn't carry my inhaler for the first time. So I was lying in the road, trying to gasp. I was trying to breathe some air, but it's the situation was as if a fish is taken out from the water. That day I thought I will die. But after 10 minutes, naturally, it started getting to normalize. So I was very angry on myself and frustrated, thinking that why am I so dependent on this inhaler and all. But then, out of all those dark things, a little bit of silver lining I could figure out. I realized that without inhaler, I am not going to die. Yes, that 10 minutes was horrible. That 10 minutes I had to endure. But that moment, I think, hope was born. And I decided that I am not going to give easy access to the inhalers. And the next few months was horrible even more because the body was so conditioned to having those inhalers. But suddenly I stopped giving it. And I had to literally run back to my hostel room to take that one puff. But I was so adamant and I was ready for any outcome. And all I knew was 10 minutes of endurance can give me freedom. And with that, I had this transformation and I started doing the same thing again and again and again and again for 7 years. Till in 2008, my team leader in Bangalore, he showed me a picture of a hill. Trust me, those picture was not of Himalayas, not of Andes, not of any other exotic places. That was a very small hill in Tamil Nadu called Parvatmalai. And for the first thing, the immense joy came in that, oh man, this is something those who are Bengalis here, they might relate. There was a book called Chander Pahad, The Mountains of the Moon, and all those characters of Shankar and Tintins and Phantoms came up, but then I came back to reality. What if I go there and die? Because it's like a dog's death if you go there and if you have an attack. And I couldn't tell my boss that I was asthmatic background because he will not take me. But the next few days, so I asked him, can I do it? And my boss was 3 times my size, and he told, if I could do, why can't you? And those were so magic words. The words of encouragement, which in today's world are very rare. So always people are there to criticize you, but who gives you encouragement? But then I went back and started thinking, and one fine day, suddenly I realized that, you know what? What if I relate this mountain to a multi-storied building? So if I have an attack in ground floor, the medicine is that inhaler. If I have an attack in the 10th floor, the medicine is the same. So I just thought of buying a new inhaler, And then boom, I was ready for going for another, to go for my first mountain. And I gathered all my courage and everything, and I had that leap of faith. And when I finally reached on a summer day in Tamil Nadu with almost no water, and finally when I reached to the top, I couldn't believe that I was standing there. And when I looked at the road that was lying in front of, it was just like a thread. And while I was enjoying that particular moment of, climbing your first hill, suddenly I realized that not even a single time I had to use my inhaler. And that was the moment of liberation. And for that moment, I thought I could do everything in the world, whatever I want my mind to set. And that day, I climbed my Everest. So small wins are very important to set the foundations for bigger dreams. And from there, and at that moment, I never thought that one day I'll go and climb Mount Everest. And then eventually life turned in a different way, and I got hooked into trekking. And from there, I went to Everest Base Camp in 2010. And when I saw Mount Everest in front of me, I had no clue what does it take to climb Mount Everest that time. I thought it was yet another trek. And when I promised Mount Everest that I'm going to come back. And after I came back, after reading about Mount Everest, I thought, oh my God, this is an impossible dream. It costed 36 lakhs when I read in that book called Into Thin Air. And then I realized that those equipments I have never seen in my life. How am I going to do that? But at that moment, the dreams and me were not two separate entities. It became one, and I didn't want it to part with that dream. And I started thinking that what can I do to make that dream, that impossible dream, a possible one? And I went for mountaineering course. In that time frame, I started doing everything possible to get the funds and everything. And I started asking me that should I wait for another 10, 15 years to accumulate enough wealth? Should I become something, then I go? When is the right time? And then I realized that time, health, and money, all three together is very difficult to get at one shot. Like imagine when we were a kid. When we were in school, we had all the time and all the health, but no money. But when you are in a mid-level, executive, you have all the health and all the money, but you don't have time. And now, when you become old, say, Ratan Tata or something, you have all the money in the world, all the time in the world, but might not be the right health to go there. So when is the right time then? The right time is now. No matter which point you are there, you can start right from there. You cannot wait that one day something will change, one day something will change, then you do. And from there, I also started to get more ideas as I started venturing more. So my dreams started expanding, and I dreamt of climbing the 7 summits, the highest mountain of all the continents. But then I was laughing at my own dreams that I don't have money to climb one mountain, and here I am planning to climb 7 mountains. But then, being an engineering background, mathematics came into picture. Mathematics taught me you add anything to infinity, it's still infinity. You multiply anything to infinity, it's still infinity. You subtract anything, it's still infinity. So Mount Everest was infinity for me. So I thought, why not think large? There are no tax for dreaming big. And it's just like if you want to if you can dream an impossible dream of going to Mars, why to leave Pluto? Go to Pluto as well, right? So with that thought process, I started realizing that even if I have all the money in the world, even if I win a lottery, can I still go to the mountain? No, because I need exposure, I need experience, and I need training. And eventually, I went for the training to Mountaineering Institute in Darjeeling. And finally, after climbing some more mountains, the highest mountains of 4 continents, I realized that I was ready for Everest. So 2015, somehow I could do crowdfunding, and my parents and brother pitched in the money, and my college, you can see Manipal Group, they also pitched in money and invested on me to go for Mount Everest. And this is what happened. This was an accidental video by Josh Kabush. 2015, 25th April, the biggest earthquake in Nepal happened. We were there. More than 10,000 people officially died. Unofficially, they say 20,000 is nothing in front of that. And then this was the base camp. 21 people died out of that avalanche, and along with died my dreams. All the 18 lakh rupees that I could manage for that mountain, everything was lost. Expedition was cancelled. There was no trip cancellation insurance. And while dead bodies were still lying there, I was so insensitive because my burning question that time was, what happens to the money? What will I go and tell the sponsors? What will I tell to those crowdfunding people who had crowdfunded for my expedition? They will never come back and give money to me again. And then I couldn't accept that it was over. Dreams were strangled and broken and suffocated to death. And while I was going around, I suddenly spotted a book in that disaster. And I just came near it, and I was shocked. The title of the book, it was so shocking, as if it was a question that was being asked to me, dead or alive? At that moment, I didn't know that the person who was reading this book is dead or alive. But that moment, I think I froze. And I realized that I am alive is the greatest gift. I could have been dead there. Today, what I have lost? I have lost money, time, opportunity. But what I didn't lose was the flame of hope. Tomorrow, if not tomorrow, next month, next year, after 10 years, after 50 years, I will still come, provided I am alive. And with that glue of hope, I started collecting back all those broken pieces of my dreams and started rebuilding it in a hope that one day I'm going to come back. I had no clue that when that day was, but I wanted to keep myself prepared such that, because I believe opportunity goes in front of us with the same probability. It is only the prepared who can take that opportunity. And those who are not prepared, what do they say? See how lucky that guy is. So I always believe in that, and I also realized that we are living in a VUCA world. The faster you understand this, the faster you will shine, the faster you will grow. Because in mountains, every step is uncertain. Everything is volatile, everything is complex, everything is ambiguous. But the moment you embrace these uncertainties, rather than fight or run away from these uncertainties, you will see that all the VUCA world is along with you. You are the part of the VUCA. But then I started finding out that when should I do? Do I have enough time in hand? Because that moment, that time when I saw that destruction in front of me, I realized that life is very uncertain. I don't know tomorrow what offers. I don't know what the next 5 minutes offers to me, right? So if I may ask, sir, if I may ask you, you might be in your 50s, so how many years do you think you will be living? 80? Yeah. 80? 70? So 80 years means, that means if I consider you as 50, I'm just giving up a number. So 30 years, man, 30 years is long, isn't it? But did you ever quantify it further? Did you ever try to quantify? I'm sure that the guys who are sitting here, except some people like Kamal and all, who live by the day, all of us live by the weekends, isn't it? Monday to Friday, work, and then you have the weekends. So ideally, you have weekends left in your life. So how many weekends is 30 years? 30 into 53, that's like 1,500. You have only 1,500 weekends left in your life. That too, if you are super optimistic. What are you going to do with this? I realized that if I have my bucket list, I have even much more than 1,500. So why not start now? Why not live by the moment and do whatever? I don't procrastinate that tomorrow I will do, day after tomorrow. I want to do it now. I want to do that. So with that sense of urgency, I started preparing and so I realized that in any game, be it cricket, be it anything, falling is there. Even if you have started learning cycling, every single person of you, even the best cyclists in the world have fallen. But falling is not failing. Not to get up is. So with that, 2016 again, Nepal government allowed us, they told $11,000 was waived off as a permit fee. And suddenly, all of a sudden, in 1 month before expedition, we started again preparing for ourselves. And this was at the base camp in 2016. And you see, even the atheist came here to give the puja to the mountain gods, because after the last 2 years, why 2 years? In 2014 also there was an avalanche, and almost 14 top Sherpas in the world, they died there. So everybody started believing that the mountain gods are unhappy and we need to give puja, and we all were there. And the puja was so interesting because this is what we offer to the gods, like beer and whiskey and donuts and cakes. The mountain gods are totally different league altogether. But then this section is Khumbu Icefall, the most dangerous section in the whole Everest region. Now you might think, so why is it so dangerous? Like, it just looks so evident, And we call this as popcorn zone because it's so unstable that everything changes. Now you take 1 square inch from this section, and if you zoom, it looks like this. And these are huge towers of ice, which are very unstable. And at any point of moment, it can just fall off, and it can create a snowball effect, and it can cause havoc. And there, you have to start in the night, such that you can't afford to even sneeze or cough there, because at any vibration, it might fall off. So in the night, you have to go, because at that moment, the chances are high that it will be more stable than in the daytime. So you have to cross that faster, and currently we are at the fag end of it, so by the time daytime had started. But then you can get scared. The fear can be a brake, or it can be an accelerator. It is up to you how you want to use the fear. So we used the fear because we were prepared, we were skilled enough to go there, and then finally we came into a situation like this. We were asked to cross this crevasse. Crevasses are like big cracks, and sometimes you can't see even how deep it is. Now, those who have seen the movie Everest, there had some railings, kind of rope railings were there. But when I came here, there was nothing, no ropes. Like you had to pull the rope by yourself. I said, where's the railing? And Pembaji, he is no more. He fell down in a crevasse and died a few years back. So he started telling me that this is the way, and this is what it was. And he was demonstrating us that you have to cross this crevasse. And I couldn't believe that we too also have to follow. I thought that he was just joking. And he was just pulling that rope, and the rope was pulling him back. That was the only balance. And I asked him, Pembaji, what if the system collapses? What if I fall? And there was no end of what ifs. I was asking questions. Pembaji went there and he just told to me, Satyarupji, what if never went to mountains? You cannot be indecisive here. You have to decide. Either you have to go or you have to go back. There is no way you can stay here for long. So you have to decide. And with that pressure, we had nothing else to do. So we also started to move. But trust me, that first step was the most difficult step. And after I took that first step, even it was more scary because now you cannot turn back and go, otherwise you'll fall. So you have no other option than to take the next step and to take the next step and to take the next step. And eventually, we conquered our fear. And I went multiple times to practice that, says that we'll secure a summit, we'll secure a summit. And then this happened. While on the summit push, we had to go in the night. This was out of syllabus question. It was never taught. So it's just like when freshers come to corporate world, they learn C and C++, and they will win the world. But once they come back to the corporate, you're like, oh my God. But then what do? Do you curse? Do you turn back? So here, what we started doing was we tried to find out what can be the positive side of going in the night. Any idea what could be positive out of this? Any idea? Yes. You cannot see how deep it is, so you can't see it doesn't exist, right? Second, the guy who was going in front, he was scared to death, but we can't see his expressions. So if the leader shakes, the entire team shakes. So the leader was, though he was scared and maybe was going in like that, but we thought, oh, leader is going, so we can also go. So we also just followed. And everybody who went, he was shivering, oh my God, but nobody could see there. And the third is, when you go in this kind of situations, you don't get to see how far you have to go. So the destination is far away, you can't see, so you don't get mentally fatigued that, oh, we have to go that far. So yeah, so in life also, I think, so lot many uncomfortable situations will come. And as I said that, I always say that the greatest decisions of my life has come from being uncomfortable. So you embrace those things and you will see that, so no Messi was born playing Saudi Arabia alone. No Sachin has been born just playing a weaker team like Nepal and Bangladesh. Sachin became Sachin because he played all those Glenn McGrath and all those Wasim Akrams and all, right? So then finally, when we start going there, I just wanted to show you some pictures, and these are practice sessions. So we compete, but we don't compete with each other. We compete against ourselves. How can we become better version of ourselves? And then as we cross, we get to see great sceneries around. And even Picasso and Michelangelo would have been very happy to create sculptures like this, what nature has created. I think nature is just wonderful and all the things. And this is the Camp 3. So there are a lot of stories around, a Sherpa fell down in front of me, and died just here. And but then the beauty around it just supersedes, and due to the paucity of time, I will not go into deep there. And here, this is the Camp 4. From here, the death zone starts. Death zone is a zone above 8,000 meters. At that altitude, your oxygen level is just 1/3. Your brain doesn't work properly, you walk like a zombie. To wear a shoe, it takes 20 minutes. Everything is in slow motion. And you breathe with oxygen, and you can hear the sound it's always there. You sleep, you put that. In fact, you cannot sleep also at that altitude. You don't get. So the brain starts killing itself at that altitude because the human body is not meant for that altitude. And there, you can't even have a small inch of negativity because anything you put, it just amplifies. So the choice was again on us. Should we put the fear and amplify it, or should we put a lot of positivity and aspirations there and amplify it? We chose the latter. And as we were going there are dead bodies lying around. I chose not to see them because I didn't want anything to come and impact our expedition, the focus, the end result. And then, at this moment, do I have another 7-8 minutes? Do I have? Okay. All right. So while I was going up there, my oxygen mask, it got, it failed. At 8,800 meters, another 48 meters left, and I was without oxygen, and I tried to negotiate with my Sherpa. But nobody was willing to give thing because whoever will give that mask, that person's life will be at danger. So at that moment, finally, I could do a lot of negotiations and this and that, and I could get that oxygen after half an hour, and finally went to the top, with the promise that I'll give it back after I reach to the summit. But at that moment, like, some magical thing happened the morning, the mask started working after the sun came up and everything. But when I look back at that situation, when the situation of half an hour without oxygen, because people were crossing me with just putting a cross on their heart and moving, thinking that I'll be dead. But then I was wondering that was I so much fearless that I didn't panic? But only later, much later, I realized that I didn't panic because that situation was nothing new for me. Because the whole of my childhood, I had gone through situations like breathlessness. So the brain didn't perceive it as a threat. It thought that it was like normal to be breathlessness without oxygen and things. And that didn't allow me to panic. And that helped me to keep a calm mind and negotiate with my Sherpa, and eventually I'm in front of you still alive. So then I realized why, because this asthma which I was cursing my whole life actually came to help. Maybe it was preparing me for that particular day. So I became so grateful to life, and I can just let you know that many of you here, you might have your own battles going on, you might have your own struggles going on, and it might it might crush you and everything, but remember, this struggle that you're going through, maybe it is preparing you for something much bigger in life later on. And with the last video, I will stop my session, and this is the top of Mount Everest. This is the highest point that a human can ever go and step, because beyond this, there is no other point. And the problems which appeared as big mountains, now from the top of the mountain, it felt like Lilliput Mountains. Same is the life. So to all of you, I invite you to look into your heart, look into the lot of fears that you have in your mind, look eye to those fears, and climb those mountains which are much, much bigger than Mount Everest in your heart. Look into that and climb and have your own journey and write your name in that. So thank you so much for your session, and thank you for your time. Thank you.